Welcome to Healing, Hope, and Health, the show proudly brought to you by Hospice of Washington County. I'm Bernadette Wagner, and I'm pleased to welcome Hospice of Washington County's Director of Human Resources, Lara Shepard. The first time she was on this program, she shared ideas for strengthening the organization. And today, she joins us to talk about two special recognition awards given to Hospice of Washington County this year. Welcome, Lara. I'm so glad you could be here.
Thank you, Bernadette. I'm glad to be here.
So Hospice Washington County received two awards from Press Ganey, which is an organization committed to improving the clinical quality of healthcare providers. Can you first tell us a little bit about the Commitment to Excellence Award?
Sure. The Commitment to Excellence Award was given to us by Press Ganey, and as you alluded to, Press Ganey is a well-known, nationally recognized organization across the whole healthcare continuum that businesses in healthcare look to help with strategic planning, guidance, measurements, data analytics, all kinds of things to help them be kind of the best they can be in healthcare. And Press Ganey has worked with us over the last couple of years, analyzing our data and most effectively helping us with employee surveys. So the reflection of what the employees have shared on employee surveys is what helped lead us to the Press Ganey Commitment to Excellence Award. And that is just that we have shown as a result in the surveys our ongoing commitment to excellence, and that's why we were given the award.
Okay, and that was employee engagement? Or?
Yes, we
okay.
actually, they targeted different areas, and we rose to the top in employee engagement, and that specifically is what that award recognizes.
And is that a certain percentage of all the organizations nationally? Did I read somewhere that it's the top 5% of organizations? Is that correct?
That's in the other award that we received
okay,
is the Guardian of Excellence Award, and that recognizes that you as an employer have achieved recognition in the top 5% of all of the healthcare organizations that participate with Press Ganey.
So that's really quite an accomplishment.
It is. That also is it's kind of like a double shot here because we've not only recognized our individual efforts and what we're doing internally at Hospice of Washington County, but then it compared us to other healthcare organizations across the continuum that Press Ganey supports, and it reflected that we were actually in the top 5% in that same category of employee engagement.
That's great. And what does it mean to our clinical staff? I imagine that it must feel very validating for the important work they do to be recognized nationally.
Sure. It was pretty exciting to see all of the email responses that I got back when I sent out the announcement via email to everyone, letting them know the awards that we received. Excuse me. One of the things we pride ourselves on is being a support to each other and creating under the umbrella of employee engagement things like focusing on work culture, work-life balance, employee engagement in the workplace. And that takes all the staff. All of our staff realize that everything that each one of us does, whether we are in IT preparing the laptops for documentation for our clinical staff, to our finance team and handling the Medicare billing appropriately, to facilities, everything from the support staff to the actual caregiver that's out there in the family home, it takes each one of us to support each person so that we all know what our vital role is to produce the outcome, which is excellent care for the families in our community. And
That's
so everyone has been very proud to be a part of this process.
So you mentioned our IT department and our finance and billing. Would you care to mention all the different clinical partners, the members of the team?
Oh, sure. You know, I tend to call them visiting staff. We have a variety of people that go out from our licensed providers, like your social work staff, your nurses, your physicians, your nurses' aides, and then we also have our chaplains, our bereavement counselors that work out in the community, not necessarily with a particular patient, but may provide support for families that have been through losses. And all of our presence in the different life centers in our community, our marketing teams, our public relations teams, development teams, every person
and
in the
organization. Right?
Yes, and the volunteers too. There's so many different people that have a hand in helping us to support our mission. And it's just, again, so nice to be recognized for all of those cogs in the wheel, so to speak, that we're putting together.
Right. And as an HR director, I'm sure that's a lot of people to keep track of.
It is, but it's fun too.
So not all hospices are created equal. Not all hospices receive this kind of recognition. What does this signify to the residents of Washington County about Hospice of Washington County? What sort of comfort can they take in knowing that this organization has received this recognition?
Sure, sure. I think, one of the things I was taught when I was little and growing up in business is, to help spread sunshine. When you're sharing things, you make it good, and then that person can carry the good forward. I think the community can recognize that if an organization like Hospice of Washington County is being recognized for what they do internally to support each other and care for each other, that there's definitely going to be a reflection then when it's carried out. That the way we take care of each other and the way we treat each other internally, then those people are going to take those good vibes and take them out into the community to make sure our patients and our patients' families and the residents of our community are cared for just as well.
And with the Guardian Award, that's directly should be a recognition of the care that's being provided to our patients, right?
Sure, the Guardian of Excellence. I mean, one of the things that award signifies is that we repeatedly remained in the top 5% in that category. Mm-hmm. So absolutely, it kind of reflects who we are. We are guardians of the people we take care of.
Yeah, well, Lara, thank you so much for being here today.
Thank you for having me.
I'd like to thank Lara for being a part of today's program and for sharing such great news. I've lived in this community for almost a quarter of a century, and I'm likely to die here as well. It gives me a measure of peace to know that should I need its services, Hospice of Washington County is recognized nationally and ranks in the top 5% of all hospices. I hope this gives you a bit of comfort too. We'll be right back. Thank you so much for joining us. We'll see you soon.
I'm the hometown favorite.
I'll outsmart you.
I will beat you.
I'll be surrounded by fans cheering me on.
There's no place like home for fighting cancer.
My turf.
My time.
My team.
Expert care, close to home. The John R. Marsh Cancer Center at Meritus Health.
I was still working full-time as a professional photographer, and somebody would be talking to me, and my wife would be sitting beside me interpreting. Well, first of all, Linda made me comfortable. I also had a lot of confidence in her. All the adjustments we made were making positive results. You don't know what you're missing until you realize that after you get your hearing aids.
Let McCollum Hearing Center help you rediscover the sounds of your life.
The pain will not control us, because arthritis can't beat us if we beat it first. In the fight against arthritis, you need a weapon. What's yours? Visit the Arthritis Foundation at fightarthritispain.org.
Hi, I am Dr. Olenzak at the Pain and Spine Institute. I specialize in the most advanced procedures and technology available in pain management. At your visits and procedures, you will always see me for continuity of care. I would like to thank all of my patients for allowing me to provide you with the specialized care that you need. To give you this level of care requires a team. This is your team at the Pain and Spine Institute. To become a patient, call 301-739-7900 or go to painfree-md.com.
Welcome back to Healing Hope and Health. As you probably know, last April, Hospice of Washington County opened its third Community Life Center at 28 North Main Street in Boonesboro. Since then, several community members have volunteered to lead programs there. Jeff Worth, owner of the Boonesboro Wellness Center, led a Tai Chi class called Aging Gracefully, Ancient Solutions to Modern Problems. And Dr. Ken Film, a local dentist, led a program called Good Dental Health Matters. In addition, the Boonesboro Transportation Task Force has been meeting there on an almost monthly basis. The group is comprised of committed residents, elected officials, business leaders, and nonprofit and county employees. Today, 2 task force members join us to talk about the group's mission and their partnership with Hospice Washington County. First, I'd like to introduce Barbara Wetzel, a member of the Boonesboro Town Council and the group's leader. I'd also like to welcome Megan Clark, Boonesboro Town Manager. Thank you both for being here.
Thank you very much, Bernadette.
We're glad you're here. So before we talk about the Transportation Task Force, can you tell me, Barbara, maybe how the residents of Boonesboro feel about having Hospice of Washington County be present in their community?
Well, I can speak for myself. Right now, I was so pleased to see that you move in Boonesboro. It helps the downtown fill a space, but it's a terrific service for South County. And I know anybody who's gone into the facility itself has been welcomed and the facility itself is very accommodating for various groups.
So you use the group. Would you encourage other groups to use the Life Center?
Absolutely. It's a terrific community room where a large group can convene, and there are other facilities there, and everyone is so welcoming. It's just a great facility.
That's perfect. Megan, you've been the town manager at Boonesboro for now how long?
2 years.
Okay. And as your role, what is your role in the task force?
I serve as the staff representative from the town, as well as providing administrative support. And
you take all the minutes, right?
Sure, yeah.
Okay. Barbara, as the leader of the group, what was the driving reason for establishing the Boonesboro Transportation Task Force?
Well, it started with an idea I had after I've been on the council for quite a while, and every time we meet with the county commissioners about what our needs might be in South County, we talk about transportation services, and we're not included in the county commuter program, and we have been in the past years ago, but I wanted to figure out some way to provide services for folks in town to go to services and facilities in town.
Such as doctor's appointments,
yes,
food store,
the grocery store, the library, the senior center in Keedysville, and that was the genesis of the idea.
Okay. And how long has the group been meeting?
It's just since last summer.
Okay.
Yes, we just started. We have a task at hand, and we're trying to figure out how to actually implement some kind of transportation service for seniors, for those disabled, and other folks who might not have transportation to local venues. And
I know part of it initially was to help seniors age in place, correct?
Absolutely. This is like we'd like to take a holistic approach to this and say that this is one element in aging in place program. So we can keep our folks in town in their homes as long as they can be independent, and the transportation is a huge part of that independence. And I think Megan can talk about the sense, how many folks we have who might who might take part in that.
Well, there's a quarter of our population is age 55 and older. So as they age, there isn't the means for them if they are disabled or having trouble driving or what have you to get to these places. So we have an aging population, and it's growing and getting larger even as the town grows. With our areas, we have retired families moving into at the same time. So.
Right. And I know that right now you've been working with some other groups that are participating, the Commission on Aging, the county, Kevin Cerrone from the county, different local business leaders. So that collaboration is probably very important to your task force.
Yes, absolutely. We have a number of agencies represented in our group, and including the Commission on Aging, the Community Action Council, County Commuter, Wise Market, the Park Board, and the Library Board, along with the Environmental Commission for the town, and the local nursing homes are also represented. They're interested in a service as well.
Well, that's great. And I know that you're going to keep us posted on your success. I'd like to thank you both for being here today and for sharing this innovative approach to solving a community's problem.
Thank you very much.
I'm grateful that Barbara and Megan could join us for today's program, and even more grateful for their enthusiasm and commitment to improving their community in a collaborative way. Tom Peters, an American writer on business management, famously said, "Community organizing is all about building grassroots support. It's about identifying the people around you with whom you can create a common, passionate cause. And it's about ignoring the conventional wisdom of company politics and instead playing the game by very different rules." I'm sure if Tom Peters heard about the Boonesboro Transportation Task Force, he would be pleased that his advice was being acted upon. Stay with us, we'll be right back.
People don't realize it takes a lot to care for a family member in your home. John's dad was very headstrong, so I think that was a lot for him to get over and try to come to terms with that he had terminal illness. I would recommend everybody to get hospice involved at the get-go. When you first learn about it, get it set up. It's going to make it, I mean, it's terrible what you're going through already, but it's going to make it easier for you in the long run because we couldn't have done it without them.
Call Hospice today. Hospice of Washington County, when time matters most.
I've been working with Linda McCullum now for 20 years. The people in the office are very knowledgeable of what they do, and they're also very caring and customer-oriented. Our little granddaughter, when she says, "Pappy, I love you," that's just so precious. If I wouldn't have had the hearing aid on, I wouldn't have heard it.
Let McCollum Hearing Center help you rediscover the sounds of your life.
This is our home. It's where we've all decided to put down roots and raise families, not because we had to, because we wanted to. And as a business owner, you pour every ounce of energy into doing what's right for you in this community, and you won't and you don't stop until you get what you want, and neither do we. We're Antietam Cable Productions, and it's time to stand up and be seen and heard. You have a voice, and we'll help you tell your story. Antietam Cable Productions, putting the beat into the heart of your business.
From the smallest item of jewelry to the largest ceramic elephant, every 10,000 villages handcrafted product makes a remarkable journey.
All over the world, our products travel similar paths, over thousands of miles and years of artistic tradition. Our handcrafted gifts represent work that builds villages and sustains souls. They are the dream of a better life made real. Every product is a miracle.
Welcome back. Some regular viewers may remember our next guest as he's been on the program before. Dean Pryor, who is the chaplain coordinator for Hospice Washington County, has been with the organization for the past 8 years. In that role, Dean and his fellow chaplains provide spiritual care to Hospice of Washington County patients and families, always recognizing and respecting the faith traditions and cultural practice of those they serve. In addition to his work at Hospice of Washington County, Dean is a pastor at Greenbrier Baptist Church, a congregation comprised of 65 members. Like many pastors, Dean seeks to provide both educational and fellowship opportunities for his congregation. He joins us today to talk about an upcoming program at his church that will meet both of these goals. Welcome, Dean. Thanks for being here.
It's good to be back with you.
I appreciate you taking the time.
Yes.
So before you talk to us about your upcoming event, maybe just give us a little bit of information about the Greenbrier Baptist Church, where it's located, how long you've been there, that kind of thing.
Sure. So I've been with Hospice now about 8 years, but recently in the last few months I started at Greenbrier Baptist Church as their pastor. It's just a small congregation on the west side or the east side of town, and started there in July and enjoy it there as well. So.
That's great. And I assume the members of your congregation know you are a hospice chaplain. Do they frequently seek you out to talk about end-of-life issues?
Sure. So one of the good things about being in ministry is that we're able to share with everyone about the end of life. And as we get older, you know, that's something that comes to mind. And so we try to give counsel with people who maybe have relatives or at the end of life, or maybe they're approaching a life-ending illness as well. Right. And so we share that hospice philosophy with everyone, just not at Greenbrier, but every church and house of worship here in Washington County.
Mm-hmm. And I imagine that as death is the one great universal, that message needs to be shared over and over again so that people don't feel like alone in that as that time approaches for them.
Right. You know, we don't want anyone in our county to have to experience death alone. And so we have a team of chaplains at hospice that we will match up with a patient. If someone maybe not be enrolled in hospice, but they would like information, we'll seek other pastors out in the area to share that philosophy as well.
That's great. So you always work in conjunction with the
Exactly.
pastors.
Yeah, we work as a team here in the county with all of our houses of worship. No matter what their denominational preference background is, we work together as a team.
That's great. And Dean, you have an exciting program coming up. Can you tell us about what you're planning for your church?
Right. So we wanted to team up with hospice to do a community outreach, and Bernadette's great. You're great with helping us with that. At the end of January 2016, on a Friday night, we're going to show a film and invite the community out. It's called Heaven is for Real. And basically what it is about a young boy, I think it was 3 years old in 2003, had a near-death experience. And I don't know how much you want me to get into detail with that, but we're going to invite the community out to show that film free of charge, popcorn, soda, the whole kit caboodle to have a good outreach in our community.
And you will be providing some additional paperwork that folks who have additional desire to learn more can take that
Yeah,
home.
we'll have our hospice display table there and share information about what hospice can offer.
And did you say what date this was going to be, or is that yet to be determined?
Yeah, it'll be the last Friday of January. I believe that's the 29th. Anyways, the last Friday of January at 6 o'clock in 2016.
Great, coming up real soon.
Yes.
I imagine providing hospice of information in this setting to families is something that would encourage families to talk about important issues like end of life because they're sharing this experience. They're having an opportunity to be present all at the same time. Was that part of your thinking in doing this, or?
Right, yeah, we want to open up conversation, and there's a great movie that we're going to show about that with dealing with end of life. Actually, it's a near-death experience, but we wanted a movie that would have a family theme to it as well as to bring out that conversation because, as you know, we're all going to die one day, and so we need to have those conversations with people in our churches, in our community, just to share, to be able to know what will take place and how we can, at hospice, help each other.
That's great. Well, thank you so much for being here and for your leadership in the community as well.
Thank you. Thank you.
I'm so glad Dean was able to join us today and grateful for his innovative idea that combines important information with family fun. Speaking of movies, Hospice of Washington County recently purchased 2 motion picture licenses, one for the Hancock Community Life Center and one for the Hagerstown Community Life Center. The license allows us to show movies at these locations without violating any copyright laws. If you or a group you belong to would like to host a movie night, or maybe I should say an afternoon at one of these life centers, please give me a call at 301-791-6360. I look forward to hearing from you. We'll be right back after these messages.
Barbers Carson Jewelers has been your community jeweler for over 110 years. We have the region's largest selection of diamonds, designer jewelry, including bridal, gold, and silver fashion jewelry, and fine Swiss timepieces. We strive to combine quality, expert personal attention, and affordable financing to create an exceptional shopping experience aimed at exceeding your expectations. At Carson's Jewelers, there's something for everyone that will bring a smile to that someone special in your life.
I'm the hometown favorite.
I'll outsmart you.
I will beat you.
I'll be surrounded by fans cheering me on.
There's no place like home for fighting cancer.
My turf.
My time.
My team.
Expert care, close to home. The John R. Marsh Cancer Center at Meritus Health.
From the smallest item of jewelry to the largest ceramic elephant, every 10,000 villages handcrafted product makes a remarkable journey.
All over the world, our products travel similar paths, over thousands of miles and years of artistic tradition. Our handcrafted gifts represent work that builds villages and sustains souls. They are the dream of a better life made real. Every product is a miracle.
People don't realize it takes a lot to care for a family member in your home. John's dad was very headstrong, so I think that was a lot for him to get over and try to come to terms with that he had a terminal illness. I would recommend everybody to get hospice involved at the get-go. When you first learn about it, get it set up, it's going to make it, I mean, it's terrible what you're going through already, but it's going to make it easier for you in the long run because we couldn't have done it without them.
Call Hospice today. Hospice of Washington County, when time matters most.
Hi there. I'm glad you're still with us. It's now my pleasure to welcome Tish Johnson to Healing, Hope, and Health. I'm grateful that Tish, who leads a very busy life, made time to join us today to talk about her experience with Hospice of Washington County. Tish was married to her husband Robert for 57 years. Together they had 4 children, and she now is grandmother to 12 and great-grandmother to 8, almost 9. Thank you, Tish, for joining us today.
Thank you, Bernadette, for having me.
So let me start off by saying that I'm sorry for your loss.
Thank you.
And ask you if you could tell us a little bit about how long your husband received hospice care and when that was.
Well, my husband actually received hospice care for a month. The last time he was in the hospital, the doctors, I don't like to use the term gave him up, but we were informed that everything had been done for him that could be done. And I knew I wanted him at home with me, but I was rather panicking because I didn't know exactly how I was going to handle it. And one of the nurses at the hospital asked me would I be interested in having hospice. I'd heard about hospice, but I'd never had any connection with them. I didn't even know anyone who had been involved. But I said, yes, please. Everything was set up so beautifully. I knew that it was a good organization, but I had no idea just how wonderful hospice is. When I brought my husband home from the hospital, our bedroom had been set up just like a hospital room.
You had a hospital bed?
Yes, we had the bedside little toilet seat. We had the table that you use in a hospital. It was fantastic. And as far as the people with hospice, they're angels. They're actually angels. The girls would come in to bathe my husband, and you'd never think that that was a sick person or an ill person in the room, because my daughter and I would hear them just laughing and talking as they were bathing him and taking care of him. He loved all of them.
Such compassion.
Yes, they have, yes. The training these people get is just fantastic because it shows, you know, they just come in and take over. We would leave the room and have no fear or thoughts about how he was being treated, how well he was being taken care of. And not only did they put my husband at ease, they put us at ease.
So they were there for your family as
yes,
well?
Yes, they were there for our family. And I would also like to say that the paid staff was fantastic, but I want to give the volunteers a little thumbs up too, because they were terrific. I can recall one time one of his nurses was there, or one of the young ladies who was taking care of him, and 2 volunteers came because I had called, a little something else happened. I can't recall exactly what, but a young lady and then an older gentleman came, and they were volunteers. So I met them at the door and thanked them for coming. I said, but you know, the problem has been solved, and I didn't say we don't need you, but I let them know that they didn't need to stay if they didn't want to. They said, oh no, we're here for you as much as we are for your husband. And they just came in and talked, and it was like family. Hospice, the people at hospice makes the caregivers and the family feel as though they are part of your family.
That's great.
And I received a little booklet. I can't recall the name of it or the title of it, but that booklet was one of the best things that we could have had in the home, because it walked us through each step of transition that my husband made in his last 2 weeks. It was, and therefore it prepared us. You know, people will say you're never prepared for that, but the booklet really did prepare
I think
us.
sometimes knowing what to expect can be a source of comfort.
It was.
Yeah. Well, Tish, I'm so grateful for you being here and for sharing your story with about Hospice of Washington County. I'm glad that they were there for you and your family and your husband.
Thank you.
I'm so grateful for Tish for being with us. Her words are all the more powerful because she speaks from a place of knowledge based on personal experience. As Tish shared, Hospice of Washington County provides medical, emotional, and spiritual care for those at the end of life and their family members. I'm so grateful for her presence here today and for her willingness to share her story, and hope that you, too, will consider Hospice of Washington County if the need arises. Thank you for being with us. See you next time.